Look, you know what? I've seen some stuff online. Vancouver fans, a lot of them, not all of them, I'm sure, but Vancouver Canuck fans, they seem a little put off by this move. And, what's going on? We have issues in the locker room with, Pedersen, and we got rid of Miller. And, now we're bringing in alleged, I don't know Evander Kane's. I've never been in the room with him, so I have no idea, but bringing in another potential locker room problem. You know what? I actually like it. I like what Jimmy's doing here. Just bring in everybody that maybe has an alleged locker room problem. And if everybody's got a problem, then maybe it just gets better. So I actually like the move.
It cancels out.
Yeah. Just even
you can't bring it.
If everybody's got a problem, it just levels it all out.
Hey everybody, welcome back to the Clearing the Crease podcast, powered by BODOG. It's summer, it's wild times, and we are your line mates, Commie, Razor, Seaball, the Stanley Cup champion, Mike Commodore, the Calder Trophy winner, Andrew Raycroft, and your worst nightmare in Chell, James Cebulski. Lots to get to here since we've had a chance to really record the last episode. We've taken a few extra days. First things first, guys. We got to give a tip of the cap to all of our friends that joined us for our very, very first inaugural Clearing the Crease podcast poker tournament that went down courtesy of BODOG. And that was fun. I played poker in a minute here, guys. And Commie, you went right down to the wire, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. I haven't played online poker in a while. Last time I played online poker would have been when I was in Carolina with my roommate because I was making league minimum. Didn't know if I was going to be on the team. So I moved in with Jesse Bouleries. Him and I lived together because Jesse had a house. I paid him $1,000 a month. I ended up not leaving for 3 years, and he was gone like 4 months later. It was the best deal ever. But Jesse used to be like, Jesse was a online poker fiend. And so I'd be sitting there, and we'd be hanging out, but he'd be really just on the computer. I'm like, so I would try. I'm like, Jesse, what are you doing here? So anyways, I got smoked in that stuff. Jesse was pretty good. He took it like real serious. And, but yeah, I thought that was really fun. So I hadn't played it. I thought the BODOG, and I'm not just saying this, I thought it was pretty slick. Like it was quick. I would say the only thing that would have been kind of nice to know who was who, but maybe that's part of the, maybe you shouldn't know who's who. I don't know. But yeah, I took it right down to the wire. I ended up finishing second. I got a little aggressive at the end, and Seaball's buddy smoked me. I got pissed off. I went in with mad hands.
Yeah, shout out to Easton, who came away with got a bounty bonus for taking you out, Commie, and Easton taking down the pot. But that was a lot of fun. Razor, you got aggressive early.
I did, and I was feeling it. I landed a few full houses in a row. I had a flush at one point. I was feeling it, and then I got knocked out on a full house at the end. I thought I had the guy. I slow played it all the way through. My 5 came up on the river, and he had already had it in his pocket. So it was fun, though. I haven't done that in so long, but to be able to. I had a blast jumping on and look forward to doing it again with more people and really cranking things out.
Yeah, and stay tuned, everybody. I think it's in the works of making this happen again. So
and it was free. It was free, everybody.
Was free.
Just go on. It's free. Yeah, go on. Sign up. Do it. It was so easy.
Once a month. It's free. Yeah. Pop in. Maybe we can tell them to adjust the blinds a little bit, especially if we get more people. Maybe just make it a little quicker. I don't think anybody wants to sit at the poker table for like 6 hours. Like we're not
except for Jesse Bouleries.
Except for Jesse. Jesse would sit there for 6 days if he had to. But yeah, we got maybe the blinds like a little quicker. But that was our first time doing it. Overall, I thought it was good.
Yeah, no, it was great. And yeah, real simple. If we do it again, it's free to play. You just simply jump on board, register online. Doesn't cost you a dime, and you can walk away with some legit, real, hard cash. And there's bounty bonuses for taking out the likes of the Calder Trophy winner, your favorite rookie of the year. You can take out the Cup winner, and Commie, you can take out me, and there's a little bonus action that you can make as well. So you can really increase your winnings. But again, it's free. We want you to play. come do it. Hey, maybe it helps pay off a credit card bill. Maybe it pays off Christmas present, whatever it may be. But
Summer
we'll
bar tab.
The
Yeah.
summer bar tab. Yes, exactly.
These
I don't know
guys,
if it'll
maybe
pay off a
with
Florida
lunch,
Panthers
but-
bar tab, but yeah, I mean, those guys just party. I want to throw this out to you just as we kind of dive into the week here. But the way the Panthers look, I think the Washington Capitals in 2018 really kind of started the party of like the excessive celebration. But I'm curious, like the amount of trolling that the Panthers were doing post Cup. Did you guys have an issue with any of that? Call me, your eyebrows immediately going up as I'm mentioning that. Like, did you have an issue? Big deal? No big deal? Did you love it? I mean, it's very reflective of their personality as a team, but give me a sense of what you thought of the, the McDavid chirps, the thank you every NHL team for giving up on these players.
Yeah.
Like, what do you think?
I would say, hey, look, I'm all for partying. Don't get me wrong. And nothing that they did. It's not like I sat there and watched the whole thing, but I see the clips just like everybody else. Hey, look, these guys just went back to back and dominated. So these guys are on their high horse. I mean, I don't get it. I never went back to back, but these guys are on top. They are feeling great about themselves. But I will say, I thought some of that, like I said, I'm all for hammering the booze, but some of the stuff on stage, I was like, ooh, that's a little aggressive. I thought especially like the thank yous out to other teams. Like, and maybe this is what they want. And you know what? At the end of the day, you're having beers. You just went back to back. Who cares? I get that too. But I think these guys are trending, if they weren't already. A lot of these guys are trending towards being hated around the league. So maybe that's what they want. None of it like put me off. But there was a couple of, a few of the F-bombs, the thanking the teams, the chirping McDavid, I was like, wow. I mean, I could see how this rubs some people the wrong way.
You can get a sense that the hate is real there, Razor.
Yeah.
Well, that and the fact that, to the point, like Kami, these guys, they feel no pain in their partying, but especially in where they are in the league. Like, they know they're king shit.
Yeah.
And no matter what anyone thinks of them, it doesn't matter to them now. The other thing too, I think it shows the three of our age a little bit because I was the same way. I'm like, geez, like, they really want all this out there. Like, they really are okay with saying this and answering to this. And I have a teenager in the house who absolutely loved it. And these kids put everything online, and they're still like that. Marshy's not a kid, but the other guys are all in their 20s. Like, they've had this Instagram thing for a long time. They all don't really care what they put out there. They all are happy to everyone just puts their lives out there now. When you celebrate with a cup, Kami, you would have had guys screaming and yelling at you if you had your phone out taking videos. Like, get that away. We're not having videos. Like, that's old school mentality compared to now. And I think that's maybe where it flipped the most. Seaball's 18. It's just like those kids, Oshie and Ovi, didn't care. Like, yeah, put it out there. I'm celebrating. I don't care what people think of me because I'm a young kid and it doesn't matter anymore. And that's where it flipped. And Florida's leaned into it more than any other team.
Yeah, I think there's probably an age. I think there's probably an ageist element from my standpoint. I think you hit it, like just turning into a grumpy old man. You can see all the it's more salt than pepper these days. But the fact is that I think I probably would have loved it. 18-year-old me would have loved the villainy of just sitting there walking around, like a villainous wrestling champion, like a Ric Flair sort of, hey, I'm the man, blah, blah, blah. Where now it just, I mean, the going after McDavid, I mean, going on social media and just thanking all those other teams, that to me I can laugh at, but I think just every night being out there banged up again. Yeah. Maybe it's just a sign that I've turned into an old man.
Well, the other thing
felt a little much. Like, it was just like, okay, wrap it up.
The last thing for me on it, I'm just trying to put it like, let's say I did that, and the one time I got to celebrate, I like having drinks just as much as the next guy. If I woke up the next day and saw videos of myself on stage popping off, dropping F-bombs, I would be horrified. And if I sat there, let's say I got the videos out there on Instagram, and we beat the Oilers in the finals too, so it kind of works out. And I'm sitting there given it to their best player, Connor McDavid, that I would wake up the next day, I'd be like, oh my God, the next time I play the Oilers, George Laraque is going to try and murder me. I would be horrified. So maybe that was part of it too.
There's no George Laraque anymore.
No, there's no more.
There is no accountability. You can say whatever you want, and yeah, maybe Connor will be a little annoyed or ticked off, but no one's doing anything about it. And you're right, Kami. That would allow you would have had to not just fight George. You would have had to fight 10 times around the league. Yeah. Like guys would have been going after you all year in 2005.
Big time. It would have been like, oh, hey, loudmouth, come get some. And I'd be like, oh my God, I'm over my head again.
Good point, though, right? In terms of, like you can kind of say what you want and where do you back it up?
Yeah.
Like you really don't need to. It certainly is. Nevertheless, no surprise that Sam Bennett stays for a Racer?
No, that seemed obvious. They had the 3 guys. That was the first one that had to get done. 8 times 8 fits in perfect salary-wise, fits in perfect cap-wise for the team. Everybody gets paid. Everybody's happy. Sam Bennett wouldn't look like it's gotten to the point where Sam Bennett, even after this week, wouldn't look right in another jersey. He's a Florida Panther, and they did good business there. And now, I guess they got a little bit more to do. We'll get to that later.
Yeah. Okay. So here's some moving targets as we record this. By the time this drops, it may or may already have hit the point where free agency has started and all these signings have happened. So I'm going to dance around what we do know hard and fast. So let's deal with a couple of what we know, especially with some Canadian teams. John Tavares is staying in Toronto, and you talk about hometown discount. 4 years at an average cap hit of $4.38 million. I mean, here's a guy who's averaged 34 goals a season for the last 3 years. This guy left a ton of money on the table by opting to go with the hometown discount. Clearly wants to retire a Leaf. He'll be 35 in September and 4 more years at JT. When you look at the Marner situation and you look at this, you talk about a tale of 2 players, but let's go with the former Leaf here to weigh in with his thoughts on this one first. What a deal for the Leafs.
No, it is, and the 4.5. So but on the other side, Tavares got the extra year. He's probably only getting 3. Like Brock Nelson gets 3 times 7.5. It's a pretty good comparable. And everyone's like, wow, 3, he got so much less, but he got the 4th year. So in real dollars, they're both, it's $1.5 million difference essentially from the 2 guys. So I think that's what we're going to see. We just saw Trent Frederick in Edmonton, 8 years, 3.4. Well, that brings the AAV way down because he signed 8 years. Really, I think we start dealing with real dollars rather than worrying about the terms. I think players are starting to think that way a little bit more. Well, give me the extra year. That brings me to 38, but at least I've got 20 million from this deal. And a guy like Tavares was over the barrel a little bit because of how much he wanted to be in Toronto. The fact he's made over 125 sheets already. He wasn't going anywhere else. The Leafs knew it. He knew it. So it's a good deal for the Leafs and gives them a lot of flexibility, I suppose, over the next few years, especially if Mitchie goes somewhere else.
Well, you talk about the Brock Nelson deal, but there's also that Matt Duchene deal that who gets that 4th year as well, but those comparable dollars who signed for at $18 million over the course of the 4 years. So you get that term. It helps the team in terms of reducing the cap number, but you're still getting that number. And there's another, 2009 draft pick, the same class as Tavares and Duchene and Tavares with almost identical contracts there, getting the extra year, helping with the term. But
and they're in the exact same spot in their career, same spot where they live. They want to be there. Their families are the same ages. Like it's just too easy when you've made a lot of money to not go somewhere else.
Kami, I think the feel-good story since we've last recorded has to be out of Winnipeg. Jonathan Toews is back in the National Hockey League. Hasn't played in 3 years, but he signs with the hometown team. He's back he's signing with the Winnipeg Jets, and I immediately think, everybody seemed to like this story. Everybody seemed to welcome it. Everybody's rooting for Jonathan Toews to pull things through after being away from the game for 3 years. One of the great players of his generation. And I am immediately reminded of a story that you had with Jonathan Toews.
Yeah, Jonathan's lucky he played any games at all. He can thank me for that. Pulling him out of a Russian restaurant. But yeah,
Okay,
it's
you got
really
to tell for anybody who hasn't heard this story.
yeah, so 06, 07, the 2007 Worlds, I got invited. The one and only time I did, rightfully so. That was the year Jonathan Toews, he hadn't turned pro yet. He just finished his second year at North Dakota, won the World Juniors, and then he got invited to the Worlds. Long story short, but he was a North Dakota guy, so I was like, we used to go to North Dakota, so there's a connection there a little bit, and I knew he was young, so I'm like looking out for him a little bit, and it's my first time to Russia too, but I got a couple of years on him, and this was about halfway through the tournament, something like that, maybe in the round robin. Everywhere we went there, we went as a team, we went on the bus, we had a police escort. This is in Moscow, and so we go into this restaurant as a team, we have dinner, a few drinks, whatever, everybody's having a good time. And our way out, and it was a really nice restaurant. On our way out of the restaurant, I kind of hung back. I was one of the last guys, or the last guy, and Jonathan was right in front of me. And as we're walking out of the restaurant, right in the lobby to the right, kind of at the front desk, this little, honestly, I think he couldn't have been much more than 5'6", 5'7", Russian dude, dressed impeccably, is just going up and down this woman, screaming at her in Russian. I don't know what he was saying, but he was pissed, right in his face, all this. I have no idea what he's saying, but he's pissed. I see Jonathan veer over. I'm like, uh-oh. And he veers over to kind of, be a good guy. I'm pretty sure Jonathan still doesn't speak Russian, so I don't know what he was trying to do, but trying to get in there and be like, good guy, hey, calm down this. The guy takes one look at him and open hand slaps him right in the face, like the hardest I've ever seen anybody get slapped. Jonathan kind of goes flying while the guy rotates through his slap. So I see this happen. So I take a couple steps and I grabbed him by his belt and the top of his suit jacket and I threw him headfirst into the wall. I don't wait around and see what happens. Immediately yell at Johnny. I go, Johnny, now, point at the door, grab him. We're out the door. I push him onto the bus. I get on the bus, and Shane Doan was our captain. He's sitting right in the front there. He's smiling, Donor. I go, Donor, we got to get this bus moving, and I mean right this second. He goes, well, what? I go, I'll tell you later. We got to go. And you can't screech the tires up us, so we were gone. So, anyways, you're welcome, Johnny. No problem. My pleasure. Glad you had a nice Hall of Fame career. You know what? Good for Johnny. In December when I played golf with him, after we played, and I asked him, what's the next chapter? And he said, well, I think I might keep playing. I looked at him. I'm like, oh, okay. I go, well, good for you. But in the back of my head, I'm like, come on now. When's the last time? You're getting older. The game's getting faster. You haven't played. You miss half a year as you get older. That's a lot, let alone multiple years. But hey, good for him. He says he feels good. Going home, you could kind of see that coming probably. I'm sure there were a few teams that would have given him an opportunity because of his resume and, his reputation. But, Winnipeg, where he's from, and so good for him. I mean, because of other circumstances, I have a hard time cheering for the Jets now, but I am definitely cheering for Jonathan.
Yeah, I think that's a collective one, right? I think everybody's in the hockey community seems to be rooting for Jonathan Toews here, right?
Well, I'm really curious just what he looks like too. I'm to Kami's point, missing this much time, being that age, but being a Hall of Famer too. What he comes back as, I'm so curious because we just have no idea what it's going to look like. So among everything else, it's fun and a great story and great for him. But I'm hockey wise, I'm fascinated with what his level is.
Yeah, what type of player is he now that here's a guy who's been around the league for the better part of the last 20 years. And when you've been away from that long,
the game's changed since he left. That's how long he's been away. That's what's wild.
Yeah. I think the encouraging thing for him is, look, the name, and I think going home, there is that sort of, hey, look, future Hall of Famer, but at the same time, he's going into an infrastructure that he doesn't need to be the guy.
No.
Right. The bonus laden contract that's set up very tight and tidy by his management team. But here's a situation that he doesn't need to be the rock star, that if he can kind of slot in as sort of a middle six forward, It's a nice infrastructure that they've got on that team that has been a perennial playoff team for the last few years. And I think we were, as we've talked about on this show a few times, we were grossly wrong on our demise of the Jets there over the last couple of years as they continue to serve us up burgers and proving us wrong. So way to go, Winnipeg, and all the best to Jonathan Toews. The Montreal Canadiens trade for Noah Dobson. A big 6'4" defenseman, right up Kami's alley, but 23 minutes a night. A huge drop off from a point production where he had 70 points 2 seasons ago with the Islanders, drops to 39. He's only 25 years old, but what a get for the Montreal Canadiens for right shot D. There's not a lot of those and they're all coveted on the market, but for whatever reason, the Islanders wanted to cut ties on this one here, Razor.
Yeah, interesting on the Islanders side, but they just drafted a kid first overall on the back end. They draft another kid on 17 on the back end. So they're just looking to get younger and switch it up. And Matthew Darsh, of course, is a new GM. They always put their mark and their stamp on things right away. Montreal side, Jeff Gordon, Ken Hughes, Marty St. Louis put the pedal to the metal here. They're not sitting back like, we made the playoffs. That's great. We'll just automatically. No, we're going to win playoff rounds now. We're right where we want to be, and we're going to get better real quick with this signing. He will be by far their best defender. He can insulate Lane Hudson now. He can do a lot of stuff on the back end, and getting him in there makes Montreal much, much better. And that's the problem for the Atlantic Division, certainly.
Kami, Demidov got people excited there as they got into the late going of the season, and now you've got Dobson and Hudson. As a blue liner, that's when you have that extra body, you can play those minutes. That's got to be a nice luxury.
Well, I think they need to get bigger too. I think that was kind of the biggest thing that I kind of noticed, especially, it's not like I don't see a ton of games out on the East Coast, but one thing I noticed, I did watch a lot of the playoffs, obviously, and the one thing that jumped off the page to me just watching was that Washington looked way bigger than Montreal. And like I said, skill and speed is awesome. But at the end of the day, especially come playoff time, you still have to have some size. The Florida Panthers proved that among other teams that have won or teams that are successful. So they've gotten bigger, and that is a very good thing for the Canadiens.
Yeah, absolutely. They needed some size, and go figure. A guy who's 6'4" in his own right talks about wanting to get bigger. Right there you go. Well said.
Nobody well 6'4".
No, let's go back to 1993 again.
Slow. Yeah.
Slow it down. There we go. Clutch and grab. Let's get it back.
Yeah.
Here in these parts on the West Coast, where as I'm situated in Metro Vancouver, a big talking point over the last week was Edmonton going within the division and trading Evander Kane to a divisional rival, as Evander Kane is going home. He's going to play for a hometown team, similar to Jonathan Toews signing with the Winnipeg Jets. Evander Kane traded to the city that he grew up in, won a Memorial Cup with the Vancouver Giants, and Evander Kane is now a Vancouver Canuck. Bold move by the Oilers to just basically cut bait on Evander Kane and send him to a divisional rival. But Kami, what are your thoughts on this one?
Look, I've seen some stuff online. Vancouver fans, a lot of them, not all of them, I'm sure, but Vancouver Canuck fans, they seem a little put off by this move. And, what's going on? We have issues in the locker room with, Pedersen, and we got rid of Miller, and now we're bringing in alleged. I don't know Evander Kane, so I've never been in the room with him, so I have no idea. But bringing in another potential locker room problem. You know what? I actually like it. I like what Jimmy's doing here. Just bring in everybody that maybe has an alleged locker room problem, and if everybody's got a problem, then maybe it just gets better. So I actually like the move.
It cancels out.
Yeah, just even
you can't bring it.
If everybody's got a problem, it just levels it all out. So
exactly. You can't bring the good locker room guy in there because he's like, what the hell is this? And he turns into the bad guy. You turn the guy in who's not even paying attention, like Evander, allegedly, and you let it rip. So and on the Edmonton, they had to. So from Vancouver's point of view, like, we can take the money. He's a pretty good hockey player. You hope that the hometown bump comes. It's his last year of his deal. He can still put up 30 goals and have a monster year and improve his career. So I get the angle, but he's also been a pretty good citizen in Edmonton the last few years. He had his stuff in San Jose, which was well documented, but he played it pretty tight in Edmonton, and yeah, why not just bring all the guys that are misfits and just let things roll.
It's like sort of a Lord of the Flies approach here. Just all right,
I love it.
Settle out. Who's got the clutch?
Yeah, Footy. Footy loves
Adam.
that stuff too. He's a drama guy. He'll lean right into that.
This is what from a player standpoint, from an on-ice standpoint, Evander Kane checks the boxes for what Vancouver needs.
Yep.
They needed a guy with some size. They need some scoring. I mean, Evander Kane checks those boxes that this guy can score. He's big, he's physical, and Vancouver has coveted and needed a sizable power forward with toughness for years. Going back probably like a bona fide power forward who can really legitimately score. Probably not since the days of Bertuzzi playing in Vancouver. But that being said, I don't know if I have ever encountered a player who has been more reviled. Although we'll get to don't puck it up. Somebody might eventually top that.
Ooh.
But the amount of disdain from a guy in his own hometown and the amount of stories that I have heard from people throughout the lower mainland that have an encounter or a story about Evander somewhere along the way. Now, granted, he's in his mid-30s now, and he's done a lot of growing up. And I think, as you alluded to, Razor, he's been a model citizen. But this is a guy, I mean, I got one friend who's told me about how he's banned at one golf course. Another guy in another walk of life talks about an ugly incident at another golf course and poor behavior there. Another friend who's got a story about being challenged to a fight who was like the least aggressive guy, you could ever imagine, who was challenged to a fight by Evander on Granville Street in Vancouver. And it's just like all these different walks of life. And it just sits there and go, man, like, how can a guy who has a long history of behavioral issues be welcome to a team that had been dealing with for the last year, wait for it, behavioral issues? Anyway, I wish him well. Hopefully everybody's grown up, and, I can't imagine it gets any worse than what Vancouver just went through last year. So
I'm not even from Vancouver, and when I go to Vancouver, I hear about the stories.
yeah,
Think of all the stories you got to
right?
come off the golf course. I've heard a lot of stories about him on the golf course.
Right?
None of them revolve around him hitting high draws and a great putter. It's all,
Or a great player.
It's all not so good.
No, and that's exactly it. So anyway, we'll see where it goes, but it's a show me year for Evander, and maybe it works out. But it checks from an on-ice standpoint. It checks a couple boxes what they need. John Gibson to Detroit. Razor, from a goalie standpoint, is this the move that rekindles? We've been waiting for this move, I feel like, for 5 years, or at least John Gibson being moved from Anaheim. But do you like this fit in Detroit?
Yep, I do. Yeah, it's what they need. They have a great tandem now in him and Cam Talbot. It proves to the group, the team. Dylan Larkin had a little, at the end, what are we doing? We didn't make any moves at the deadline. Well, they're making moves now, and that leads into free agency. Stevie Wise, feels like there's some urgency there now, and there is with John Gibson as your goaltender. So I like the move. Again, the Atlantic Division gets better with Detroit making a push now, and it feels like making that move says to everybody, we need to make the playoffs this year.
How about for the Detroit Red Wings? Great, Mike Commodore. You on board with this one?
You know what? Yeah, I like the move. I mean, the only thing with Gibson, I would say, let's just fingers crossed that he can stay healthy. But I like the move. I mean, look, there's definitely, they don't pay attention to the outside noise, but there's some urgency in Detroit for sure. Like they know, there's been some runway here, so Steve's making some moves, and look, at the end of the day, it's up to the Larkin comments too. I mean, Steve wouldn't have liked that. And when I'm not at all, I'm sure there was a discussion behind closed doors about that. But I like what they're doing. I think the Wings are moving in the right direction.
Okay, free agency. By the time we record this, we could be completely wrong on any speculation. But Razor, a quick thought on what you're keeping an eye out for here as we inch closer and closer to July 1. Is there a name you're watching the most?
I think Nikolai Ehlers will is going to get paid. I think he's on the board, being in the Winnipeg system. He plays 200-foot game, but he can beat goaltenders with a shot. Of course, there's Marner and Marshy. Like, those are the exciting names. But I think hockey wise, team wise, there are a lot of teams are looking at a guy like Nikolai said that can come in and really make a difference. He's going to get a lot of money.
Kami?
Yeah, I mean, I'll just go with these. You know, we hear about it. It's been going on, and Razor just mentioned a little bit. But the Marner one's interesting for me. You know, I want to see how it. You know, there's the rumors here, maybe a sign and trade with Vegas. I read a little headline there. I'm more interested on it kind of from the angle on if the Leafs get anything back for it, and is this guy going to come back and like everybody hates him in his hometown because he left for nothing? So
that's
kind of my angle on it. But he's going to get paid. Everybody knows that. So that's kind of what I'm looking forward to seeing.
Yeah, that's one of those stories that if he ultimately wins, I don't know how many people are, hey, good to see him finally win one, you know? Like, you know, that's not, I mean, we'll wait and see. And then also Sportsnet hockey insider Elliot Friedman has been speculating on the potential that if things with Vegas do go down and it doesn't wind up being a sign and trade, they might explore the idea of tampering with Vegas. So we'll see where that goes.
Yes.
And so, yeah, that little nugget coming down on Sunday morning. And so I guess we wait and see. But here we go. My only one that I'll throw out there from a free agency standpoint, just because wonderful character guy, Vancouver's going to let him walk. My prediction, I'm going to say Brock Besser reuniting with Travis Green in Ottawa.
Okay.
There you go. There's
Minnesota? Isn't Minnesota in the mix there? I'm interested.
Minnesota, yeah, hometown kid. So, but I'm
going to give this shout out too. I'm interested to see what Minnesota does, just in general, because this is, in my opinion, the fact that the Minnesota Wild have been competitive and making the playoffs with a $14 million or whatever it is with the dead cap the last few years is very impressive, and that is finally off the books with Parise and Suter. So I'm interested to see, like, that could be a dangerous team if. You know, if they spend the money right and it works out, that could be a very dangerous team moving forward.
We don't talk about that market enough.
No, we don't.
That is such a loud and proud, like that is.
It is.
That is like Canada. That is like Canada light in terms of just. I mean, it's a fantastic hockey, and I don't even know if it's doing it justice, but like that is.
That's
state of hockey. I mean, Minnesota is a wonderful hockey community. The Twin Cities. Crowds are always amped up. One of the loudest buildings I always found anytime going to that rink.
For sure.
Yeah, that's a good call, Combi. All right, we're going to play Don't Puck It Up. Who didn't puck it up or who better not puck it up? We'll get to that next right here on the Clearing the Crease podcast powered by BODOG. All right, time for Don't Puck It Up. I mean, if you're a regular listener to this podcast, you know it's real simple. We just tell those teams or leagues or players or whoever it may be that's in our crosshairs not to puck it up. Razor, you go first on this one.
Don't puck it up, the National Hockey League. Go back to our traditional draft. You guys took a swing this year, decentralized, war room, NFL-esque, NBA-esque. I understand the logistics and why it might be better for some teams and certain teams, but it unfortunately didn't play very well on TV. There was a lot of criticism, not just from hockey people, but casual fans. The first round took 4.5 hours. The poor kid who got drafted 32nd should have been in and out of there in about an hour and 20 minutes, but it was 4.5 hours. It didn't play. Everybody should be together. Guys on the floor, kids shaking the general manager's hand. That was I got to meet Harry Sinden the night I got drafted. That was the biggest ultimate that would not have happened in today's scenario. Don't puck it up. Get rid of decentralized. Go back to a Montreal. Go back to a Toronto. Have the draft. Let the kids have fun. Let the league have fun.
Yeah, I mean, you guys were there for those sorts of drafts where you got to meet those people. Like watching those virtual conversations were as awkward as anything.
Brutal.
Oh, man. Kami, what do you got?
Well, I'll touch on that. So that draft, I didn't think about the time, but you're right, because I didn't watch it. but I was driving from Phoenix to Kanab, Utah, which is 5 hours. And I listened to that first round on NHL radio for the entire time. I'm like, man, this is taking forever. And it sounded like, I didn't see it on TV, obviously, but it sounded like, the NHL radio guys are trying hard and everything. But like, I was kind of hard to like, who's where. And, they didn't have all that many people to talk to. So it sounded a little awkward on the radio too. In saying that too, listening to on the radio, I laugh at these people that are breaking down the draft and he's going to be a third line or he's going to top out at second line. Hey, look, other than maybe the first 2-3 guys, some years, maybe just the first one, the rest of the draft, if you're being honest, nobody in any of these organizations knows. You have your list, you're just throwing darts and you're just crossing your fingers and hoping it works out. Hopefully you can develop them. So was my thing. 4.5 hours of listening to where, this guy's going to slot as the second. He's a top 6 on the second line. I'm like, shut up. You have no idea what you're talking about. Anyways, but my don't puck it up. So I sat there and listened to it. Don't puck it up, New York Islanders. You got I went through that, which is also BS. They give it grades, but for whatever it's worth, you got an A+ rating on your draft. You had 9 picks. You got the first overall pick and 2 more picks in the first round, but 9 picks. You're looking to turn things around. Now, look, I just said the draft at the end of the day, it doesn't mean a whole lot. Now what happens, you got these 9 picks. Hopefully you pick the right guys, or at least some of them. Now it's time to develop them. So don't puck this up. Develop these guys and turn the ship around.
Well said. Yeah. I mean, they certainly got an opportunity to do that. As long as they threw the right darts there with all those draft picks. Hold on. It's my turn here.
I got a second line center. He's going to be a number 3D man. Shut up.
Hey, drafts, I'm always reminded, come any draft, I am reminded of an expansion draft or a dispersal draft in the Canadian Football League back in the mid-90s when the Ottawa Rough Riders drafted a player who was dead. True story.
That's
True
called
story.
missing the board with your dart.
Yeah. They took a guy, and it was like, I think he passed away this offseason.
Oh my God.
It's like the Major League movie. Remember that?
Yes, exactly. How'd you like to manage Cleveland? Oh, I don't know.
Who the hell is this guy? That guy's dead. Anyways, great.
I feel like I need to go watch that movie again right now.
You can't watch that movie enough. What a great show.
No, never. All right, my don't puck it up, Mitch Marner. Mitchie, we have waited for this moment. We have been waiting for this summer for years, and just slowly inching closer and closer and closer. And for years, you've got your no trades and your no movements. You've carried the weight. You've had control. You've had hand to steal a line from Seinfeld. Well, be careful what you wish for, because we were just talking a few minutes ago about a hometown kid who is rather loathed. And this opportunity might put you in a position to be perhaps the most hated hometown kid in Toronto sports history. You turned down an opportunity to play in Carolina that would have brought Mikko Rantanen to Toronto. You've had control. You've had the opportunity to call your shot. Well, here you go. Go shoot your shot. But buyer beware. You reap what you sow. And it feels awfully like we are going to see Mitch Marner become the most hated player and hometown kid in Toronto sports history. Imagine going home and everybody hating you. Mitchie, don't puck it up. But it feels like it's going that way.
Yes. I love it. I love it. I hope it happens. Mitchie. I want to get food.
Imagine going home to visit family. Yeah, just people just hate you everywhere you go, right? Just like,
burn his jersey. When does that start?
Oh my gosh!
It's gonna be a community.
Burning all of
them. What are you? Yeah, we remember there was that whole LeBron jersey burning. How many? 15 years ago. This one might.
It's coming. Everybody's at the cottage Canada Day weekend. Everybody packed their Marner jersey for the weekend just to put it on the bonfire.
For that reason, yeah.
Right in the
the
bonfire,
old
right
white,
there.
the old using it as toilet paper.
Yeah, I like that
right?
move too. That's
Well, speaking of Canada Day weekend, that brings the season to an end here for this edition of the Clearing the Crease podcast. On behalf of all of us, to all of our Canadian viewers and listeners, have a wonderful and an amazing happy Canada Day, and to all of our American listeners as well. Yeah, we're all in a trade war right now, but happy 4th of July to everybody coming up. You guys do it up right on 4th of July, and Canada Day, I'm sure, is going to be epic this year, just given that we haven't seen this much Canadian pride. You know, Four Nations was big and all of it. So everybody have a great and safe happy Canada Day. Guys, it's been fun. This has been a fun season. These last few years, this new vibe of the, available to find our podcasts and Spotify and Apple and wherever you get your podcasts. This has been a fun one, guys, and really enjoyed this season, these last few months over the course of the playoff grind.
well put, Seaball. It's been a fun ride. Let's keep it going.
All right. Well, enjoy the golfing this summer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Raise all the best to you guys as well. And we will be back soon enough right here on the Clearing the Crease podcast, powered by BODOG. Happy summer!